What's up everyone, my name is Marie, welcome to my channel and welcome to another speed build. So for today's video, I'm back with another small business build. This time though, it's in the world of Tomarang, which is the world that came with the For Rent expansion pack. And I actually haven't done any small business builds in this world. I mean, to be honest, I haven't done them in the majority of the worlds that we have. I've mostly been focusing on Nordhaven, and then I think I've done one in Brindleton Bay as well, but for the most part in the New World. But I thought it'd be fun to explore the small business vibe in different worlds as well, so I landed in Tomarang for this one. And I definitely had a particular vision for this. I was browsing on Pinterest. I didn't really have a specific picture that I was using for inspiration, but I just had a vibe in mind, and I thought that this lot was perfect because you can see that we are kind of like in downtown Tomarang, and this is a really cute 20 by 20 lot. It's only really small, right next to a little park. And I thought that that would be the perfect location for a small bakery. So that's what I started with. My idea for this at first was just a bakery, but then obviously whenever it comes to these small business builds, I always end up combining different little businesses because it's just fun and it's functional that way. So I just thought that that would be really cute to do here as well. So we actually ended up doing a bakery, bookstore, and an apartment. And then also, I guess, a cafe. There's sort of like a cafe attached to the bookshop. We only have two entrances on the ground floor here, which one of them is for the bakery and the other one is for the bookstore slash cafe. But you kind of walk into the cafe here in the main building, I guess. You can kind of tell once we move on to the interior and we do the floor plan and everything. You kind of walk through the cafe first, and then there's a bookstore in the back. Like, it's really small, but it's so cozy, and I'm just so excited about how it turned out. The bakery is also really, really small, which is exactly what I was envisioning. I was just really kind of envisioning one of those really tiny bakeries where you just kind of walk in and you tell them what you want, like you tell them your order and then you kind of walk out. So it's like it's a really small little bakery, which is exactly what I was envisioning for this as well. So that was really, really cute. That did make it so that immediately I sort of had to think about how the layout for this would go, like what I kind of wanted in order to maybe, you know, before I had placed all the windows and like did the entire exterior, come to the conclusion that it's too small or too big or like just not the right shape. So yeah, I was kind of going through to see what would work out here, and yeah, it ended up actually working out perfectly. So as you can tell, the bakery is going to be really small. It's going to be that really tiny square bump out on the left, or on the right, I should say. And then the main building is going to be the bookstore and the cafe. So it's going to be really cute. I know a cafe, again, I can't help myself. I always add cafes, especially to these types of builds, because it just makes so much sense. It's so cozy to hang out here, grab some coffee. We're going to have some outdoor seating as well. So it's going to be so cute to like grab some coffee and maybe like a fresh treat from the bakery, and just like hang out outside and drink your coffee. And I just feel like it's such a cute vibe, especially right here, right next to the park. Like, it would be so cozy to just grab your coffee, maybe to go and move on over to the park and hang out there. Or if you've got kids with you, then the kids can play on the playground equipment. I'm just kind of living vicariously through The Sims right now, you can probably tell. But yeah, I'm very excited about that. And I'm kind of excited to try this one in gameplay as well, mostly from the customer's perspective. I think that would be really cute. And it's definitely functional that way as well. You're just gonna have to go through gameplay and like set it up, like just place the lot in the world and have a sim open a small business and set up all the business activities and whatnot. And then you can just call it a day. And after you've set it all up, you can just go here as a customer with a different household, and it's perfectly functional that way as well. So that's really, really cute. You can just like browse stuff that's on the shelf, like on the displays and stuff. I'm not actually sure if they'll restock if you're not actively playing. Like, I think you're gonna have to actively go through and like restock the shelves yourself. I think that is how it works with small businesses if you're playing as a customer. I'm not exactly sure actually, but there's obviously a lot of selling of items going on here because I stocked all the bakery shelves, like the little displays, with a bunch of baked goods and cakes and bread and stuff that I downloaded off of the gallery. I actually did that off camera because it was really messy footage. But once I give you a tour of the place at the end of the speed build, you'll see what I did. Like, all the shelves are stocked and it's just just so cute. We have all the like cupcakes and cakes and bread and just like all the baked goodies. It's so cute. And I think since they're slotted on the display shelves, I think you can actually buy them. I think that's how it works. So that's gonna be really cute. And the same goes for the bookstore. Actually, I slotted some debug stacks of books, or like loose books, to the display shelves, and I think your Sims can buy those then. I'm not exactly sure, but I think that's how it works. In any case, they can get some coffee here as well, because obviously I had to add a little barista moment. And then on the second floor, I actually have an apartment. I thought that was going to be perfect for this one. So on the side here, we have kind of like a staircase going up. We actually have that on either side, but on the side of the main building, so all the way on the left, is where we have a staircase going up to the front door for the apartment. It's only a really small 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. It's very closed off. I started off with sort of like an open floor plan, but then as I was decorating it, I really felt like it should be more like an older apartment with a closed off floor plan, like a closed off kitchen. And that's what I did, and that makes it feel especially cramped, which is really cute. I was definitely going for a cramped, small, kind of squishy apartment. So that's what I ended up doing, and I think it ended up looking really, really cute. I also placed a ladder here on this make-believe balcony. It's not an actual balcony, but I thought it looked like a cute fire escape. Like, your Sims could probably just like climb out of the window and then use that ladder as a fire escape. I know it's not actually functional that way. I should have placed a door, but the kitchen ended up being against that wall there on the second floor, and a door just really didn't work. So we're just gonna go with a pretend fire escape with a cute ladder. I just placed it for decorative purposes, really. And yeah, so I feel like this build actually turned out really cute. It's only really small. And on the second floor of the bakery, I actually ended up decorating that area last, and that ended up being a kitchen specifically for the bakery. I was kind of imagining that the Sims living in the apartment would be a couple and they actually run the bakery and the bookshop like together. I feel like that's how you would do it if you were going to do gameplay from the small business owner's perspective. Then that's how it would work. But I feel like for like build purposes and storyline wise, it would also be really cute if the people in the apartment don't actually own any of these businesses. They just live there. They just rent the place. And then the stores underneath it and kind of next to it are actually other people's businesses. So that would actually be cute as well. And then I thought it'd be useful to have a bakery kitchen as well, so that there is a kitchen specifically for the bakery, which is where they do all their baking, is what I was imagining. And then I actually also made it so that it would be a functional employee only area, which is really nice to have for a small business as well. So I ended up placing a nice large kitchen in there with a double stove and a double fridge, sort of like, I guess, a more business-like or like almost like an industrial looking kitchen. It's not really very homey looking, which is not what I was going for because it's specifically for the bakery, like it's the bakery's kitchen. And then I also ended up placing some seating in there, and there's a little bathroom, and I thought that would be a nice functional employee only space as well if you're gonna play from the business owner's side of things and you were to hire employees, because there's no way, I don't think you could run this just with one Sim. You would definitely need to have at least one employee, because there's also the bookstore and the cafe, of course, so you can't really do it all. But it would be really cute to just kind of go there to the kitchen upstairs and like do all the baking and like restock the shelves and stuff. I feel like that would just be really, really cozy. But here you can see that for the exterior, I was definitely enjoying the Tomarang vibes here. I was taking a lot of inspiration from the surrounding buildings as well. So the exterior of this definitely looks a little bit older. We have some like stains and it looks a little weathered. There's some, like, as I like to say, cozy mold on the walls as well, kind of like coming from the air conditioning units and stuff. And, you know, it's just kind of like an older building. It's very cozy and very like loved. There's lots of plants, little awnings, very, very colorful, and just like little flower boxes and everything. But yeah, it's definitely an older building that's a little withered, and, you know, there's just a lot going on here. We also have a lot of flowers on the side of the build. I was really trying to make every angle of this, like every side of this building, look like something's going on to kind of make it blend in with the surrounding area as well. And I feel like it worked out really nicely. Surprisingly, I feel like the stuff from the bistro kit actually worked out really well here. For the bakery in particular, I really thought that those bistro doors would be so perfect, so I ended up using those. And then, much to my surprise, also the windows from the new pack from Businesses and Hobbies actually worked out really nice here. I feel like for the most part, I'm using windows from Businesses and Hobbies. Not the doors necessarily, but I did use a lot of windows from that pack, and it works really nicely here, combined with a style that you can kind of find here in Tamarang. I feel like it just looks really cute. Tamarang also, or For Rent also comes with a really cute debug bike rack, which was the perfect vibes, obviously, so I had to place that and put some bikes in, and I was definitely going for a vibe where there's lots of little signs and planter boxes and just like a lot of little things going on. So I also created some planter boxes here as well, and some trees in the front. I thought that was going to be really cute. Obviously lots of bikes parked. I just had a lot of fun with debug, and it was such a nice and refreshing thing to just kind of sit in The Sims again and like build here and just be so comfortable with the game, because I have been doing some Inzoi as well. I'm working on my second Inzoi build. I'm hoping to get that up sometime next week. It's a family home, so that one's a little bigger, and it definitely takes a little bit more time to figure everything out, but I feel like I'm getting a little better at building an Inzoi, or at least I'm getting more comfortable with it. I kind of know better where to find everything, but it's definitely still a struggle, and just like the whole building system is obviously very different. So yeah, I'm not an expert, but I've been getting more comfortable with the game, which is really fun. So yeah, I'm definitely working on another Inzoi build that is hopefully coming to the channel soon as well. And also a lot of people, or not a lot of people, but some people actually suggested that maybe I could do a community lot, but in Inzoi. So that would be kind of fun too, like maybe a little cafe. It's always cafes for me. Whenever I have to do a community lot or want to do a community lot and I'm not sure what, like 90% chance it's going to end up being a cafe, because I just love building cafes. I think they're so cozy. So, you know, just to do something that I'm a little bit more comfortable with in a game that I'm less comfortable with, I feel like maybe that's a fun thing to try in Inzoi. I'm not sure how actually it works, how to build like community lots in Inzoi. I literally don't know how it works. I think you have to like do gameplay like in live mode and then walk over to a lot that is assigned as like a community space or something, and then I think you can build there. I don't know. I'll have to try and see if I can figure out how it works, but I think that would be really nice and refreshing. But for now, I'm still working in the background. I'm still working on a family home in Inzoi as well, which is sometime soon, hopefully going to be shared here on YouTube as well. So that's exciting. But yeah, you can really see the exterior here come together. I was creating some planter boxes. We have a couple of benches. And obviously a lot of, or not a lot, but like 3 little tables with some plastic chairs. I really felt like that was such a cute combination. It's such a small detail, but the little bistro table from the bistro kit with the tablecloth, and then specifically combined with these plastic, sort of older looking chairs, these outdoorsy plastic chairs from For Rent. I felt like that was such a cute combination and just made so much sense here in this world. So that's what I went with. I also put up an umbrella. I was really happy to come across that one. I'm not sure if that's the debug version. I think there's one in build mode, like in the actual build mode for that pack as well. So it might be the quote unquote real one. I hope so anyway. But yeah, it looks really cute here. I feel like it was just the right little detail to add that umbrella. It also has some string lights, I think, underneath it, which makes it look extra cute. I'm not sure. I forgot to check it in the dark, but I do think it actually lights up in the dark as well, which is absolutely adorable. And then I started decorating the bakery, and at first I was actually kind of struggling because I'm using these bakery display cases, which are from the new pack, but they're the digital content. So they're the item, it's one of the items that you get if you buy the pack before a certain date. I'm not sure what that date is. I think if you still get it now, if you get the pack now, you'll still get those items, but don't quote me on that because I'm not actually sure. I always feel a little bit about that concept because, you know, I'm using those really cute display cases here, and what if someone has the pack but they don't have those display cases? It's just, you know, it's I just feel like it's kind of sad. I want everyone to enjoy those items. But yeah, I use those in here because they're absolutely perfect for a bakery and they're new. So I still wanted to try them out anyway. So I used a couple of them behind the counter, and then I also, just for a little bit of variation, I also used the ones from Get to Work here because otherwise it was going to be a little bit repetitive since there is some clutter on the display cases from the pack, which I think is really cute. I love that bakery clutter. I think it's adorable. But if you place them side by side, like twice or multiple times, it just feels a little bit repetitive because the clutter looks the same on all of them. So I didn't really like that. So, you know, for just a little bit of variation, I decided to swap some of them out for the Get to Work ones, which looks a little bit less polished. And that's exactly what I was going for. I didn't want it to be too matchy-matchy. And then we also have some shelves here, some bakery shelves. I think those are also from Get to Work, if I'm not mistaken. I actually ended up placing a little bit of like some debug items on there. So we have some flour and some other things that I'm not exactly remembering what it is, but I felt like it looked cute. Maybe like some boxes, some filled boxes with like treats in it or something, like some gift boxes. Not exactly sure, but also some flour and other things. I did want to make sure to actually slot the items to the shelf. Otherwise, I don't think you can actually buy or sell those items. I think if you slot them to the shelves, they will immediately like automatically set for sale with the small business system. And that doesn't happen if you like freely place them on the shelves where they're not actually slotted to them, if that makes any sense. So I made sure to go through and actually use the slots, like the assigned slots for items. So that's what I did in order to hopefully make it as functional as possible. And then after the bakery, we moved on to the building next door, which is going to be obviously the cafe and the bookstore. So I wanted to place some tile here in the cafe, and I couldn't make up my mind. At first I had placed like a really cute patterned wall or a floor here, like some really cute tiles that kind of matched the ones in the bakery, but it wasn't really the vibe. So I ended up going for this terracotta tile. I think it's from Love Struck, if I'm not mistaken, and I think it looks really cute, especially combined with this really nice like pastel yellow wallpaper. I just think that that's really, really nice. And then in here, I used a couple of those really pretty tables from For Rent. I was definitely embracing the For Rent style, and it's been a minute, so it was nice to revisit this style, especially in the apartment on the second floor. I used a lot of living room stuff from For Rent. It's definitely been a minute since I've really focused on that pack or built in this world for that matter. So yeah, it was really nice and refreshing to actually use that and see how it would combine with items from the Businesses and Hobbies pack, because it's obviously very different. Like the styles are very different, but somehow I feel like I could still make it work. Like those bookcases combined with those tables, and then I have some more modern items as well, like those dark blue chairs that I'm using in here are a little bit of like an odd choice, but I still really like it. So, you know, it's a little bit eclectic, I guess, is what I was going for in here. And I think it turned out pretty nice. I feel like it works well with the space. Like it's just a little weird and eclectic and just, you know, cozy and not too polished. And that's exactly what I wanted. And then here I was trying to divide the space with this really cute divider also from the new pack. At first, I wanted to just close these two areas off and maybe separate them with an archway. But then I was like, you know what? No, I actually like the fact that it's very open and airy, and, you know, we can just use that really beautiful big divider from Businesses and Hobbies instead. So that's what I did. And I feel like it's kind of nice. Like it definitely looks a little bit more renovated this way. It probably used to be closed off back in the day before it was this small business situation, but they kind of like knocked down that wall to create a nice open space. I guess that's just kind of what it's giving. And then there's a really small bookcase in the back. I was able to surprisingly fit in a couple of bookshelves here. These are the Get to Work shelves. I think those also count as shop-like shelves, where when you slot things to the open slots, then they will set for sale with the Businesses and Hobbies system. I think that's how it works with those display shelves as well with the bookcases. I hope so anyway. And I placed some debug books on there, and then I just decorated the space here with some posters. They're definitely not book cover posters, but I was kind of imagining them to be, especially the one from the Bookstore kit that I placed in here. I know it's a little random, but I felt like that print would make for a really pretty book cover. So I was like, you know what, we can just pretend that it's a book cover and call it a day. And then here I also ended up placing one of the really cute love seats from Businesses and Hobbies. I love the color swatches that they offer for this couch. I think they're so pretty, and this really nice blue color just was a really nice change of pace, and you know, just a cute little accent color here in the space that combines particularly well with the wallpaper. I feel like that's such a good match. It's just really pretty. And then here I was going through debug and just placing heaps of, you know, stacked books or single books like on little display stands that I think look so cute and definitely very, very perfect for a bookshop. So that's what I ended up doing. And then off of the bookstore here is also where we have 2 bathrooms. And those are the bathrooms obviously for the customers to use. So it's a little bit annoying if you are just here like visiting the bakery and your sim needs to use the bathroom. They will have to walk all the way through the cafe and the bookshop to use the bathroom, but you know, this build is only small, so I only had so much space. I definitely did not have space for a separate bathroom in the bakery. So, you know, there's just gonna be 2 bathrooms here and they're just gonna have to make do with that, and I'm sure it's gonna be fine. And then here on the 2nd floor is where we have the apartment. I love the wallpaper that I used here. You can tell that I was definitely feeling inspired by the color of the couch that I used in the bookshop. So I was kind of continuing that blue accent here in the apartment as well, with this combined with this really nice dark brown warm wood floor, which I think is from the Life and Death expansion. I'm still not over this wood floor. I think it's so pretty and I'll use it any chance I get. So it's definitely one of my most overused floors right now. But it's just so pretty and I can't help myself. So here I immediately knew where I wanted the kitchen to go. So I started off with that one. For the rest of the layout for this apartment, I was a little bit unsure. And then I decided to just close it all off. I don't know why, because it did not make floor planning any easier whatsoever. But I started off with the kitchen and I realized how cute it would look if it was just all the way closed off. And then there was this extra nook for some extra counter space, where I ended up placing the microwave and a coffee maker, and it was just a really cozy little corner. So that's what I ended up doing. And then I started to decorate the living room and I was like, oh, well, that's a little bit of an awkward shape, a little bit of an awkward corner here. But I did end up making it work, and I really think it's cozy. It's definitely not the most ideal floor plan or the most spacious apartment by any means, but I feel like that just adds to the personality of this lot in general. It's just, you know, it's a little quirky, it's a little messy, she's not very polished, so that was absolutely perfect. And then I came across this really beautiful TV unit, which is from I think from the Refined Living Room kit, the one by Sim that we got not too long ago, and I felt like it was such a quirky item to add in here. Not that the item itself is quirky, but combined with the items that I'm using in here, especially in blue, I felt like it was a little bit out there. And I was definitely going for a bit of a mismatched little mess in here. Not that it's very messy, but you know, the wood tones don't really match, as in the floor versus the furniture wood tones. They don't go together whatsoever, which is kind of what I was going for. And then the display for the TV, like the TV unit here, is blue, which is also very different, and style-wise also very different. But somehow I feel like in all its weirdness, it kind of works out. It's a little bit of an eclectic situation. I guess I have a favorite word today, and it's eclectic. And then here next to the archway off of the hallway is where I placed a small dresser. I was just kind of trying to fill up the weird nooks in here with some storage. So we have that really cute dresser that's very small. It's from Growing Together, and it's actually one of my favorite dressers. I think it's so pretty, and I haven't used it in a while. So I was excited to use it in here and have a chance to make it blend in and make it work. And then I did realize that I just simply did not have a lot of space for a dining area, so I ended up placing this small round table, which I think is from Life and Death, and I combined that with these chairs from For Rent, which they did not have matching wood tones whatsoever, which I was embracing for the entire situation in here. And I feel like it looks cute. I'm, for some reason, never the biggest fan of using small dining tables in my houses. I don't know what it is, but to me the smaller tables just kind of look like restaurant or cafe tables and not really like tables for your house or your apartment. I don't know, it's really strange, and that's probably just a me thing, but I always try and use the this larger dining tables or the larger round ones, but it just didn't work out. I simply did not have the space, so I decided to go for a small round one and just embrace it with a couple of chairs. And then in the back here is where we have the bedroom, and in here I was definitely trying to go for some more neutral tones with a couple of like splashes of color here and there in the curtains, for example. But for the most part, it's very neutral. I'm using that same wallpaper, which is from For Rent actually, but in a different color. So the blue one in the living room, and then in the bedroom we have this brownish, brown and white. I really like that color, especially combined with a new bed from Businesses and Hobbies. It's almost a perfect match, so that was really nice and very satisfying. I was definitely going for neutral, like warm tones in the bedroom here, just to sort of, you know, make it feel cozy and like a little darker and a little bit less colorful, I guess, even though we definitely have some splashes of color here. The curtains and the rug, for example, they don't really match, but because they don't match, it kind of goes. If that makes any sense. It probably doesn't, but in my brain, that's just the entire vibe for this lot. So, you know, it kind of went. And then here we also have a desk with a laptop for a small home office, which is nice. The bedroom is kind of spacious compared to the rest of the apartment, so that was nice. And then here we have a bathroom where I was also embracing For Rent. So I'm using the shower, the sink, and the toilet from For Rent in here. I just thought that it was the perfect bathroom setup here, especially for the style that we're doing. And it just worked out really nice. And then last but not least, of course, here we have the kitchen. I do remember I was decorating this over on stream, and then I realized, oh, I thought I was done. And then we had this entire kitchen that I just completely forgot about. So I went through and just decorated it. It's for the most part just a really big kitchen. It's obviously the kitchen that's for the bakery, so this is not for the Sims to use that live in the apartment, unless they're the business owners, then obviously they use this kitchen as well, but they just use it for the bakery and not for their home cooking, if that makes sense. At least that's kind of what was going on in my mind as I was trying to tell a story for this build. But yeah, there's just a lot of stuff going on here. We have some counter space, a double oven, which is very convenient if you're going to do a lot of baking to stock the shelves, you know. We have a double fridge for all the storage, of course, and then I just went through and placed a lot of baked goods here on the island counters. And then this kitchen is obviously pretty big, so this is also going to be the employee only area. So aside from just a kitchen with a lot of space to move around and do a lot of baking, for maybe 2 Sims simultaneously, I feel like that would work. I also wanted there to be some seating and just a little bit of coziness. I mean, it's not very cozy. It's for the most part just a very practical space, which is what I was trying to do, but I still wanted there to be a little bit of seating here for maybe employees as well, just like a little break room. There's no microwave in here or anything, but there is a stove and obviously a bunch of fridges as well, so they can just grab some snacks, maybe some small, just cold snacks like chips and applesauce and whatnot, or just maybe make some salad for lunch. That's definitely possible as well. But that's gonna be it for the speed build, so let's jump into the game and I'll show you this build in real time. So here we have the bakery in the game. I think especially in this area, it blends in really nicely, and this is that park that I was talking about. How convenient is it that you can just grab some snacks and a cup of coffee and then just hang out here at the park maybe? If there's kids with you, then they can go and play here. I just really like this park area. This lot is really cute. I don't think I've ever built here before, to be honest, and I don't understand why. But yeah, this is the bakery, so there's a lot going on here out front, obviously. Just a bunch of decorations, some bikes parked. Over here, there is some really cozy seating out front by the bakery. Then there are some more trees here, a staircase going up to the bakery's kitchen and the employee area. And then in the back here, we just have a little bit of a mess here with a dumpster and an old stove and just a little bit of cozy trash, if you could call it that. And then on the side here is where we have the staircase going up to the apartment, of course. So let's go inside and let's go into the bakery first. I just love these open doors from the bistro kit, by the way. That just looks so inviting to me. And then inside of the bakery here is, well, obviously where we have all the baked goods. So I stocked up all these shelves. As you can see, it's not the most aesthetically pleasing, but I just used the slots that are available in there, and this is what it ended up looking like. So she's a bit messy, but there's a lot of stuff for sale. That carrot cake is my personal favorite. favorite. Then over here we have some stocked shelves with some like ingredients and stuff, I guess. Maybe some gift boxes. There's some flour. So yeah, you can set that for sale as well. And then we have some more stuff going on here in these display cases here on the side as well. So a bunch of, what is that? Fruitcake? Carrot bread? Carrot bread? I have never heard of carrot bread. Banana bread, however, yes. Sign me up. So yeah, just a bunch of bread and pie and small cupcakes and stuff. And then next door here is where we have the cafe and then also the bookstore. So you first walk into this cafe area where you can just obviously order some coffee here. And then if you want to, you can hang out here, sit at one of these tables, maybe do some reading. And then in the back is where we have the bookstore. So this is really small, but I feel like there's still enough space for Sims to route around actually. So just a bunch of books on display. And then in the back here is where we have a couple of bathrooms. Going upstairs is where we have the apartment, which is very closed off, as you can see. So when you walk through the front door, there's a really small hallway here with just a coat rack and a storage closet. And then through this archway is the living room. There's a lot of different wood tones going on here, which I personally kind of like. I like the chaos of it all. There's also just a bunch of colors that are different, but somehow I feel like complement each other nicely. So really cozy living room here with a small TV, some clutter of course, and then in the back is a small dining setup. It's only a small table like I explained, but we still have 3 chairs, so that's nice. Off of the living room here is a bathroom with just a shower, a sink, and a toilet, so no fancy tub for them. And then here through this archway is where we have the kitchen. I love the kitchen. I don't know why. I just feel like it's such a cozy, there's nothing really fancy about it, but it's just a cozy little small kitchen. So you know, it just has everything you need. I did leave this countertop free of clutter, so it's actually functional. And then in this corner here is where we have some coffee and a microwave. There's another tiny hallway here that then leads you into the bedroom. And the bedroom also has a desk, so this is also an office space. There's another dresser in here, and then this nice neutral colored bed. This is actually my favorite bed in the game. It's from Businesses and Hobbies, and it's definitely already a staple. And then there's a tiny balcony here off of the bedroom as well with just a small chair. Then over on the side here, which you can only enter this from the outside as well. It was my plan to at first like place a door from the apartment to the bakery's kitchen, but then I was like, no, let's keep it separate. I just really liked that a little better. So this is the bakery's kitchen with a double stove, double fridge, not really any clutter because I really wanted to leave as much counter space free to maybe have 2 Sims bake at the same time. There's some seating here at the bar counters and then a table in the back here and just, you know, a little bit of a mess, a little bit of storage. And then there's a bathroom for the employees here as well. But then that's actually it for this build. So this bakery, cafe, and bookshop is up on the gallery. It uses a bunch of packs. As per usual, I did not limit myself whatsoever, so I'm sorry about that. I built it on a 20 by 20 in the world of Tomarang, so if you want to place it in your game, then that's where it goes. But that's gonna do it for today's video, so I really hope that you enjoyed this one. You can obviously go ahead and download this build off the gallery. Like I just showed you, my username on the gallery is SimmerySims. You can follow me on Instagram if you'd like. My username on there is SimmerySims as well. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, feel free to do so. And if you'd like to get notified every time I upload, just click that little bell icon. I also live stream over on Twitch a few times a week, so if you're interested in that, go ahead and give me a follow over on twitch.tv/SimmerySims. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!